The biosecurity scanner's alarm pierced through the docking bay of Station Epsilon 7, causing every alien in the vicinity to freeze. Caden stood in the queue, hands in his pockets, waiting for the inevitable panic that always followed his species' arrival at a new station. The Vrexian security officer, a six-limbed creature with crystalline skin, stared at the readout with all four of its compound eyes widening in what Caden had learned to recognize as terror. Apex. Predator. The Vrexian chittered, its translator struggling to keep up with its rapid speech. Code Red. Full quarantine protocols. Caden sighed and glanced at Liliana, who stood behind him in line. She rolled her eyes and crossed her arms, her auburn hair falling over one shoulder as she leaned against the scanner wall. Every single time, she muttered. Sir, ma'am. Please remain absolutely still, the security officer commanded, its voice trembling. 3 more guards materialized, each carrying what looked like weapons designed for subduing creatures 10 times Caden's size. Which part of me gave it away? Caden asked, genuinely curious. He'd posed this question at least a dozen stations now, and the answers always varied wildly. The Vrexian's translator made a sound like breaking glass, probably its species' version of a nervous laugh. Which part? All parts. Your forward-facing eyes, your persistence locomotion, your endurance capacity, your... It consulted its scanner again. Your ability to consume and digest both plant and animal matter. You forgot the best part, Liliana chimed in, stepping forward despite the weapons now trained in her direction. Tell them about our throwing ability. The security officer looked confused. Throwing? Humans are the only known species in the galaxy that can accurately throw projectiles with lethal force, Caden explained, as if discussing the weather. Something about our shoulder joints. A new alien approached, a Quillarian, if Caden remembered correctly, floating on anti-gravity pads and resembling an oversized jellyfish. This one wore the insignia of the station commander. Humans, the Quillarian said, its voice resonating like wind chimes. We've been briefed about your kind since the Galactic Council first encountered Earth, but the reports seemed exaggerated. They probably undersold us, Liliana said with a smile that showed her teeth. Another predatory trait that made most aliens uncomfortable. The commander's tendrils quivered. Your planet sits in what we call a death world classification. Gravity 1.5 times standard. Atmospheric oxygen levels that would be toxic to most species. Megafauna that should have driven any sentient species to extinction. Instead, we domesticated some of them, Caden added helpfully. Dogs, for instance. They're descended from apex predators we befriended. We keep them in our homes, as companions. The Vrexian security officer made that breaking glass sound again, more desperately this time. The scanner also detected trace amounts of capsaicin consumption, the Quillarian continued, consulting a floating data pad. You intentionally ingest neurotoxins. For pleasure? Spicy food is delicious, Liliana said with a shrug. Speaking of which, is there a commissary on this station? We've been in transit for 3 weeks. You cannot simply... There are protocols, the security officer stammered. Let me guess, Caden interrupted. Quarantine period of 72 hours, psychological evaluation, threat assessment, mandatory tracking implants, and a 10-page waiver absolving the station of responsibility if we go feral. The silence that followed confirmed he'd hit every point. Liliana pulled out a data chip from her jacket pocket. We've done this before. Here's our certification from the Galactic Council. We're registered traders. We've been to 47 stations without incident. Well, she paused, without major incident? The thing on Betelgeuse Station doesn't count, Caden said quickly. That merchant was trying to sell fake Earth artifacts. We were protecting intellectual property. You chased him through 3 sectors. He was scamming people. The Quillarian commander examined the data chip, its tendrils rippling in what might have been consternation. Your credentials are... in order. But you must understand our concern. Humans are persistence hunters. Your ancestors literally chased prey until it died of exhaustion. We also invented poetry, Caden countered, and music, and the concept of adopting animals that aren't even our species as family members. Your planet has weather patterns that regularly try to kill you, the security officer interjected. Hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards, and you just live with it? We give them names, Liliana said. We track them. Some humans even chase tornadoes as a hobby. The aliens exchanged what Caden had learned to interpret as disturbed glances. Look, he said, softening his tone. We understand we're different. Yes, Earth made us tough. Yes, we have traits that seem dangerous to species that evolved on gentler worlds. But that same environment taught us cooperation, creativity, and compassion. We had to work together to survive. We're not here to conquer, Liliana added. We're here to trade, to learn, to share what makes us unique. The Kilarian was silent for a long moment, its tendrils forming complex patterns. Finally, it spoke. The human paradox. You are simultaneously the most potentially dangerous species we've encountered and the most aggressively friendly. Is that a yes to letting us through? Caden asked hopefully. With conditions, the commander replied. Standard monitoring, weekly check-ins, and... It paused. I would appreciate it if you could teach our security force your throwing technique. Several stations have requested human combat instructors. Liliana grinned. See, we're already making friends. As they collected their clearance badges and headed toward the station proper, Caden heard the Vrexian security officer mutter to a colleague. They smile with their teeth showing. They evolved to chase prey for days. They eat poison for fun, and they want to be friends. The galaxy's a strange place, Caden called back over his shoulder. Terrifying, the alien responded. You'll get used to us, Liliana assured them. Everyone does eventually. As the doors closed behind them, Caden smiled. Another station. Another opportunity to show the galaxy that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their predatory heritage. It was their unshakable determination to reach out, even when they were feared. After all, persistence hunting wasn't just about chasing prey. It was about never giving up on anything worth pursuing, even friendship across the stars.